Everyone, nice to see you again. I hope you can hear me all right. Else, please let me know. Okay, let's see here. Let's get my settings correct. Okay, thanks for confirming. Happy Pound. That sound is okay. Hi, everyone. This was from last time. Yeah, we finished already the topic of accept or decline, right? That's what we were talking about last time. This was a complex example, I think. Yeah, hi, Mr. Chiki. Nice to see you again. So this was from last time. We have some new users. Pika, that's a new user. All right, Pika, you're very welcome. A small price reservoir, right? That's the new topic. So this was the old topic. White played Queen C3. I was quizzing you here about how should Black react, and we saw that White, in this case, the Indian Grandmaster, is offering a pawn. Should we take it or should we leave it? And I think our main variation was this one, right? I just wanted to check if we're all on the same page. Take the free pawn. Always accept. No, don't do that. Always accept. That's a bad idea. You should remember, Mr. Chiki, do the second installment where all the examples were about declining. No, so that happens also. Okay, we have some winners here. Sozin Queen, Heuristic, Happy Pawn, Kind King Sam, Chess Crusher, Mr. Chiki, Dad Apple, Zach 206, Hollow Blade. Some people declined the sacrifice. Interesting, like Brian Razorbill. Interesting. Yeah, we didn't talk about that last time. We were probably focusing more on the other one. Aha. Interesting. Yeah. So basically, Black in this game, I think it was Vahido with the black pieces. He got it right. Okay, I'll just pick the first name that comes up here. Fianchetto. All right, Fianchetto. How did you continue here? Always start with accepting and then calculate, says Happy Pound. Yeah, like accepting in our mind, right? Not accepting on the board, of course, but starting with that option. So that's what happened in the game. The Uzbekistan Grandmaster accepted the challenge. He knew that f4 was coming, which looked very menacing because the position is opening, but he did some good calculation here. He noticed that, in fact, it's not the end of the world that the pawn on f7 drops off, right? If rook takes in the game, they took with the bishop, but we looked at rook takes also, and we noticed that the best square for the king was actually on h6. And yeah, we had some difficulties last time, and I didn't come back to this. I confessed that I did not come back and look at this. We looked at rook e1, and we were not sure about how to play with black. I think we said that h4 was maybe the best. Maybe at some later stage we can look into this. But even so, I would say this was the best outcome for Black from the beginning, because if we hadn't accepted the sacrifice, they played Queen c3 for a specific reason, right? They wanted to unpin the knight so that they could either take or maybe put the knight on e4. And they had some other evil plans, like, for instance, bringing the rook to f3. So we really had to do that. We really had to accept it. And some people here were saying, by the way, Queen f4. Yeah, we didn't talk about this last time. I guess if you play like that, you give me like an extra tempo, no? Or I can go rook e4 and maybe f4. Is that so? And I have some more pressure on this pawn, perhaps. So yeah, I would avoid this, even if it's not completely clear. Maybe there is Queen g4, but maybe I can go like rook. Queen f5, says Razorbill. All right, maybe you're right, but I can just take like Razor. I can just take it. Don't you think White has the upper hand here? These two monster pawns and rook f1 coming up next. So yeah, bishop e6. Yeah, I guess we can look at this also, but I would probably avoid this if I could. From the very beginning, I would avoid this. I would feel that in the long run, it's very dangerous that my opponent has these pawns. Maybe they will bring the rook to this side. For instance, if you play like Queen g5, I don't know, could I play rook f4 here? And if you take Razor, I think maybe e6 is coming also. So I would, yeah, White has the upper hand. That's what I think also. So we should probably avoid this altogether. It was better to play like he played in the game. He took the pawn, bravely took the pawn, and he noticed that he could actually stay alive here with Queen g5 and so on. Okay, we will turn the page. We will now continue today's topic, which is a small price. Okay, a small price. You will soon figure out what I'm referring to with a small price. You will soon notice once I bring up my first example here. We will go back in time to last year. We will have a look at a game between two fascinating players, two very strong players. With the white pieces, we have Indian Grandmaster Vidit, and playing black is no one less than Petr Svidler, several times Russian champion, and yeah, in the candidates and all like that. So I think Vidit played in English, and it's a queenless English, where queens dropped off on d8, Black was allowed to gain some space, but you can already see in this position, if you look, yeah, we will come to that, Razor Wheel. Is it a pawn sacrifice as happy pawn? Don't worry. Take your time. We will look into this, all right? Don't worry about the title of the class. So if we make like a quick evaluation here, I would say, exactly, Sozin, you're on the right track here. Black is overextended and underdeveloped, but that's the way you're putting the worst, but I see your point. But I will also say, if Black is able to consolidate, they will be doing fine. If Black can just make a few moves and like get the pieces into the action in some way, maybe trade and put the pieces, they might even be better here thanks to their space advantage. Who knows? But in any case, what White is after here, they're after using their superior development. Basically, all White's pieces are already developed, yeah, apart from the rook on h1, which cannot be said about Black's pieces. So, of course, Southak, you're completely right. That's what Vidit played at this point. He played here the move f3, like a typical pawn break, trying to open up the game. Also, this would justify White's rather peculiar bishop on h3. It's not a really good place for the bishop right now. But if we manage to open up the game, of course, it's very helpful, right? You could trade off, and maybe you could bring a knight to e6 and so on. So f3 was played in the game. Svidler replied e takes f3. After e takes f3 again, you can see the e file open. So Svidler hurried to play king f7. Now Black does not have a space advantage anymore. White has the initiative. They played here rook e1. Oh, you're saying e4. I didn't look at this move. I think that's a little too dramatic, Can King. What I think, Can King Sam, is that sometimes when queens have left, the advantage in development can be somewhat less relevant, if you see what I mean. It's of course not nice to sit with the king in the center, but queens have left already, right? So Black is probably able to take. I don't know. I haven't looked at this, but I think I can take and survive now. If queens were still on, this would be probably extremely dangerous for Black, but I would imagine that Black is okay here, or even more, right? I don't die if I put the king on f7 and so on. So yeah, I wouldn't do that. But I can see the picture, right? But please remember that, right? Queens off, you would say. Development, I'll write that in the chat, all right? The development lead is somewhat less relevant, yeah, or you can rephrase this in a way that you understand yourself. So anyway, back to the game. Pawn takes. If queens were on, then White would be winning already, says Young. Yeah, I think that's a better way of saying it, actually, Young. You're completely right. All right, we'll continue. King f7. White quickly brought in the rook. And at this point, we will come back to this a little later, but Petter Svidler played, I would say, the most natural move here. He played bishop e7, getting ready to continue the development of his pieces. So, okay, we have arrived. It's your turn, guys. I would like to know which would be the best way of continuing here. I will ask you for the next, let's say, 4 moves in the game. Okay, 1 minute or maybe 1 minute 10. Okay, 1 minute 10. Sometimes you're complaining that I give you too little time, but that's only because I want you to see many examples. That's the reason why I give you so little time. Not because I want to torture you with these exercises, but it's more about trying to fit in more examples. Okay, Sarthak in 206. That's very interesting what you're saying. I like your suggestion here, Sozin, Brian, Happy Pawn, and Yugoslavian. I looked at that move too. Believe me, I also looked at that because it looks very thematic. Aha. Algen chess turnip, that's a possible plan. It's like improving slowly, no? Like Dorfman would say, evolving, no? Evolution. Okay. Do we have somebody getting close? Wow. Nobody honors Vidit here. Vidit would be angry at you because nobody wants to play like him. Wow, what a surprise. And so many students around today and still. Yeah, that goes against probability, no? That nobody would play like him. Interesting. We have a lot to talk about then, I'm afraid. Or it's a good opportunity also to learn. No, I won't requiz yet. We will have a look at... I think I see this as tactical. Don't give away any solutions in the chat, please. Don't ruin the fun here. So, all right, we will go step by step. Some of you wanted to play rook takes e7. I think we're back on the same page. You can do this if queens are on. If queens are not on, you better have something very convincing here. For instance, if your plan was to, I don't know, like rook e1 and bishop d6 or something, well, I think I'm just in time to play rook e8. Another thing that you should notice here, a more long-term feature, please notice that these structures with black, when you have pawns like that, they can have like a neutralizing effect on white's knights. You see what I mean? This is a very powerful tool against the English, no? When they have a fianchetto bishop, you can arrange the pawns like that. Maybe you saw, I think Niemann had a game like that in the Tata Steel, where he played a reversed Alapin. c4, e5, g3, knight f6, bishop g2, c6. So that's good to see that it has a limiting effect upon black's play. All right, I think we can reject rook takes e7. Yeah, we're in the wrong class. We will have some attacking games later on where you will play this kind of moves. If we had some queens around here somewhere, I would certainly believe in this, but not without queens. Okay, g4 was proposed. What's the point of g4, says Chess Art? I think the point of g4 is to wake up this sleeping bishop now. That's why some people here would like to play g4. So I looked at this, pawn takes, and there are some very interesting complications here, So the first move I looked at was this one, bishop takes g4. But it's very dangerous. It's very dangerous, as you can expect, because of the bishop takes, knight takes. Anyone, what would you play with white pieces here? Which would be the most? The f-file, exactly. Something like rook f1. This would be very dangerous for black, as you can see. Yeah, a lot of things going on here. And also we could maybe play h3. There is h5 instead of bishop takes g4, says Sui Random. Interesting. There is h5. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe this is a good move. I like it because you're actually activating your rook on h8 now, right? So yeah, good point. You could play like that, or I think also you could just bring the rook to e8. This would maybe be my humble choice, since I can see that white cannot. I mean, they can, but it's probably not a good business for them. So I would play something like that, and if you play rook f1, I'm hoping I can play king g8. I don't think I'm doing too badly here in this position. Okay. Tactical Magician says h5, g5. Oh, interesting. That's the other line, right? That's Sui's variation. g5, bishop takes, and rook takes. Yeah, that's a lot of tactical magic, no? It looks thematic, but then it has to work also, right? Tactical. Yeah, I don't think it worked fully, no? Or, well, what do you think? Or maybe, I don't know. 94 and so on. Yeah, looks like some kind of Mikhail Tal game now. But yeah, bishop e7, I would just move the knight tactical, like knight 97 maybe, or no. Yeah, I'm at a loss here, but I don't fully understand how this can work for white. You will end up a piece down, right, if you take my rook. So yeah, I thought g4 was correct. No, actually it's not. I'm sorry. And it's also not what Vidit played. So let's continue. We looked at rook takes e7. We looked at g4. a3 was proposed here. Yeah, that's a sound positional idea, expanding on the queen side. I would play knight c5. If b4, I will play knight e6. I looked at this also. And I think almost black is better in this position. I have maybe a5 counterplay, like Sui Random's h5, but now I'll do it on the queen side. So are there tactics? Well, no, that's probably over. Yeah. So, oh, sorry, I have to go back again. So give me just one moment. Yeah, but now you have learned the f3 move for sure. So unless there is somebody else who would like to ask about their move, I think we will do it again. Okay. Now it's certainly time for the requiz, and I think by now everybody knows what this is about. Maybe now, Happy Pawn and everyone else who was inquiring about the title of this class, maybe now you should think about what's going on here. Why is it called a small prize? What are we talking about? Okay, here we go. Mr. Chicky wants to see what's wrong with rook e2. All right, we will look at that. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, let me just get rook e2. Yeah, that's a nice little move. What would I play against that? I guess I go rook e8. If you go rook e1, I go bishop f8. Okay, tell me what's so alarming about black's position. Okay, we have a winner. Congratulations, Gordon. You were fastest here. Sozin Queen, you also found it. Titan Chess, aha. Tactical Magician, you're very close. You're basically on the right track, tactical, and so is 206. So this time we had better scores here. Brian, you're also very close. I wouldn't play that though, Brian, because I think you're trading an active piece for not a very active piece. I'm very happy to trade off and play rook d8, if you see what I mean. So, okay. We have 3 winners so far. 4 with it, of course. Please go ahead, Gordon. You were fastest here. Tell us, what did you notice here? What about that small price? Small price for a big benefit, you could say. That's what he played, c5. I was thinking maybe somebody would propose here the move bishop f1. Maybe somebody would play it in the other way around. You could do that also, but then I can play knight c5, and when you play b4, I go knight e6, and I'm more likely of resisting white's pressure. I looked at this also, by the way, if you're interested. I looked at this move, c5, and at first sight, I thought it was completely crashing, but it's not. I can take like that. It's funny, but actually black is very resistant in this position. It's not so bad for black here. What did I look at here? Some developing move, I think, for black. It was okay for black here for some reason. Yeah, rook somewhere. No, rook d8 or something. Yeah, white is suddenly missing the piece that I had before, right? The bishop. So this doesn't really seem to work out. Look how bad this knight is, by the way. Yeah, I'm tiring you with this comment, but please notice how black's pawns are restricting this knight. So, okay. We will come back to Gordon now. Please go ahead, Gordon. You found a better move order. You started with the other move. We start with c5. That's a small price for activating our bishop, right? There are 2 ways to take that pawn. We can start with what Svidler played in the game. He took with the bishop here. And here we go. That was white's worst piece. And now look what will happen. It will become their best piece, I think. Although there is fierce competition from the rooks and the bishop and the knight also. So I don't know. Let's see what happened. Rook e8 was Svidler's choice. We bring in the bishop. You can see there is a funny mate if you go that way. Black had to play king d7. And here we had a precise move here, bishop e5. Very nice move, because in this way we create a threat of taking and taking. I think it was Brian who talked about knight e6. So I see your point, Brian, but unfortunately you're like letting me off the hook here. I'm able to trade off my undeveloped bishop, and I can then bring in the rook. And I think black is, much better than in the game, at least. Again, we have this knight, struggling knight, but don't worry. Vidit has a solution for that knight. Don't worry. So Gordon played bishop e5, and I think that's how far we got, right? Yeah, that's how far we got here. So you can see there is the threat of bishop takes f6, and there is also another idea. Anyone else? If I just play, he played knight c7, funny tactical move by Peter Svidler, one of the greatest tacticians ever. No, this is a funny move to play. Only Peter Svidler will find this move, perhaps. You can see the point that if takes, that is takes, no? Very clever. If I play something more neutral, like bishop d7, I think I know how white will continue here. Anyone? 206, you're right. We can now resume this idea with g4, which means that g5 is a threat. And at the same time, you can also see that knight e4 is coming at some point. I haven't really done my variations here, but something like that. I don't know if you would do this and that, but okay, it's protected. No, it's not protected. I would have to sack the exchange then. Yeah, maybe not so clear. So maybe you can look for something better. g4. Anyone would like to propose something here? Knight b3. Oh, that's maybe even better. Oh, I didn't see that move. Knight b3. Maybe that's a killer, right? Because you're threatening a little here, and you're also threatening a little there. Yeah, you're right, Ryan, or Sozin. Yeah, completely right. Good point. Knight b3. Forget what I was saying. But that's what he did in the game instead. Knight c7, and now he played a killer move here, g4. Very, very smart move, no? Because now he's about to... He wants to... Now that the knight is not protecting the bishop, he would like to bring in a fork on e4. So, yeah, the game was very difficult for poor Svidler. He sacked exchange here. If pawn takes, we take, and we don't play this instantly, of course, because they can give up the exchange. We take first, and then we play knight e4, and we win the game, right? So, yeah. Brilliant move. Which one is brilliant? I think all white's moves were quite brilliant here, but maybe c5 was the most brilliant one. Anyway, so Svidler had to take on e5. He took, after g4, he took on e5 instead. Yeah, let's do it again. White played here the stunning move, g4, trying to help the pieces in some way, right? Threatened g5, but at the same time tried to help the knight. Black took on e5, white took back. And yeah, white was winning here. Rook e1 and extra change, and he went on to win. So, okay. I think we understood this now. We had this from the very beginning. We open up the game, bring in all the pieces, and here was the key moment. c5, we bring the bishop. That's a small price to activate this bishop. But there was a way for Svidler to improve. Anyone, what do you think? What should Black have played here? Anyone? Any opinion? You're right, Razor. They could have played knight c5 and play knight e6 next move, and I think actually Black would be okay here, which just shows how complex it was from the very beginning. I think it was Sozin Queen who said that, yeah, white is much better, black is underdeveloped, and so on. But these positions are very resistant. This kind of English with c4, c6. Very hard nut to crack. So I think Svidler's opening choice was not bad, but he needed to bring in he needed to play knight c5 first. Maybe he just forgot about this move, c5. Or I don't know what you guys think, but I think he did not really, well, maybe he noticed it just once he moved the bishop to e7, but that was a big difference. All right, that's what happened in the game. I think we are done with this one. Let's take a game that was played in the United States, all right? And this was played last year in the Silicon Valley Grandmaster Tournament. This is quite a different situation. Let's have a look at the game in the French. We are playing with the black pieces here, with white Eric Liu, and playing black is Escalante. At this point, white played here knight h4. Funny move, king d7, by the way. We will come back to that a little sooner. White played... oh, right, it's L. Okay, nice to have L here in class. Okay, great. So you know more about this game than anyone else. So Eric just played here knight h4. A solid strategical move. We can see different ideas. One idea is to maybe reroute the knight to that square. Also, it makes it possible to bring in the queen and so on. So safe to say this French line did not work out 100% as black wanted, no? It's not that pleasant disposition with black. However, the Peruvian grandmaster, he found a very clever way of fighting back in this position, okay? Computers will not support this fully, but I think human-wise, it's the right choice. So, all right, you get 1 minute. Try to see what Escalante found here. How did he put some more spice into this position? How did he manage to get some counterplay? Okay, I see Razor, Algen, Zach, you're very close then. I didn't see that second move. I guess I do queen f3 there if you play that. Yeah, if you play the French, you have an advantage when solving this exercise. Yeah, Sui and Touch Grass. If you play that, what would I play? Queen f3 maybe? You can take on d2, I'll take with the king. You can play queen g5, I go knight e3. If you can play king d7, I can play king d2, right? Okay, nobody walked in the footsteps of the Peruvian grandmaster so far, but I think you're all very close. Yeah, let's see who is closest here. Smart Goldfish and Pika, you're definitely close. I wouldn't allow knight c6 though, but basically you were on the right track. Okay, so many of you got it right. Yeah, we can talk with Txalicia. All right, Txalicia, what was your approach here with the black pieces? Aha, so that's the key move. We should start with this move. Computers will not approve this, but don't worry, you're not playing against one of them. It's important for us to generate activity. Aha, white took the pawn on f4, and now we had a few different choices. So I think what Txalicia said here was, also Titan Chess and Brian, you were very close also. I see. What was your move here, Txalicia? I'm trying to see. You took on h4, exactly. You could do this also. Yeah, I agree. I'll take with the rook, I guess. And just for me to understand, what was your plan here, Txalicia? What did you want to do here? There is a smart maneuver here. Yeah, if you play that, I like your way of thinking, but I think I come with knight e3, and I don't know if you can really keep on protecting this pawn. So maybe you and me, we can agree that this diagonal, it's like a workable area for black. It's where we could try to bring our pieces. But is there some smarter way? Aha, hollow blade, you got it. You're right, hollow. Aha. Go for it. Where is hollow? You can do this hollow so that everybody understands. Aha, queen g8. So if by chance you have not seen this maneuver before, which certainly does not apply to Escalante, he had seen it before. If you have not seen it before, I can just tell you very quickly, this appears in some French lines, specifically in the Winawer, right? In the Winawer. So Yeah, we will talk about that Titan. Don't worry. Oh, you do Queen B8 and Queen E7 Racer. Yeah, that must be like in Ray Lopez or in Scots, perhaps. I just wanted to show. Yeah, we're changing game now. It's Shirov versus Gulko. Yeah, we are in a different game now. I just wanted to show you how this can come up now. It's in the French Winnower. In some lines of the French Winnower, Black is trying to trade off the bishops very soon. White can try to stop this plan by some dribbling. No, dribbling with the bishop, so that if the black bishop goes there, now we go back so that they cannot trade it anymore. But what black usually does here, yeah, exactly, Sozin Queen, you knew this game. Okay, I think you're in minority here. I think most people don't know it. Aha. I think it was Bronstein who first found this maneuver, but okay, that was a long time ago. Bishop a4, we're sealing the queen side. H4, white gains some space. You know that when there is a closed center, we usually do stuff on the flanks instead. And here we go, right? Just for fun, let's see who is on the same track with Gulko here in this case. Let's see. I'm just asking you for the next 3 moves here, all right? Just for fun, just for fun. I know maybe you don't like the French, you get claustrophobia playing like this. Okay, a lot of people got it right. Sarthak, Holo, Titan, Kan King Sam, Brian, RKDK. Yeah, this was easy for you, right? Everybody knew about this plan. Aha. So if you're in the mood to play the French defense and you manage to close the center like that, beware of the white doubled pawns, no? If there are not doubled pawns on the c file, this might not work because the white bishop could come to that diagonal. So, yeah, this is well known. Yeah, everybody got it right. I can't really even keep track of all the names. I can't see all the names on the screen here. Okay, I'm just waiting. I gave you a little more time this time. So there were a bunch of different moves here, but my majority got it right. We will ask Connor. Please go ahead, Connor. What would you play here with the black pieces? Smart maneuver, King D7, taking advantage of the close center. Yeah, Shiro played G3. Connor replied with Queen G8. Aha, only in this pawn structure you can do this, Queen H7. Please notice, guys, if the pawn was not there, everything would fail to Bishop D3. Aha, that's right. And later on, this is a strange position, now very closed. Both sides will somehow try to do something on the king side, probably. But black is perfectly safe here. Okay, you can also come across this idea, just for your information. Now, I have one nice game, I mean, not my game, but a game that I like to show to students in the Caro-Kann. There is a game like this. It's with Dreyev with the black pieces. So Dreyev did something similar. Yeah, you see, this is the classical variation in the Caro-Kann. And Dreyev did something interesting here. He played Queen D5. Yeah, it's all well known. No, it's all well known. Queen D5, hitting the pawn on A2. White played C4. I think a more cautious choice would be King B1. Then you can go for Queen E4, perhaps, trading queens. But they played C4. Yeah, don't do this when black is uncastled, they say. Don't do this if the if the black king can castle short. So Dreyev played Queen E4, and after Bishop E3, B5, he started some attack on the queen side. But hey, what on earth does this have to do with what we are looking at? Well, I was just asking for this. Anyone, where do you think black's queen will go here? Just for you to see that exactly. This also happens in the Caro-Kann. Interesting, no? You can put the queen there if you don't have a light squared bishop in white's camp, which can harass you. So please go ahead, Tactical Magician. You can tell us where should the queen go. Okay, there were not many other options, right? Queen H7. Very nice place. And he went on to win here later on with a nice attack. Dreyev, I think. He had a nice attack going on the queen side. So anyway, that's what I wanted to tell you about the queen maneuver. Now it's time to go back to our example where black considered this plan, but in a slightly different situation, you would say. Okay, so back to business. He played here F4. Some people were saying that you could play Queen G8 instantly. Yeah, and if he did not play that, Knight H4. If he didn't play that, he must have had a good reason. I'm wondering why he didn't play that. I'm all ears. Maybe 93. No, maybe 93 is what Eric would play here, hitting the pawn. And if you go Queen H7, I will go Queen F3. This would be my counter argument. Maybe. So if this happens, you're in trouble, I think. You're in trouble. You don't need to be a computer to notice that if this trying to play Knight E7, yeah, you grew up with Stockfish and so on, but it's not even necessary. We can see Knight X5 anyway, right? This is very evident that yeah, white is taking over here. I think the pawns are running and so on. Yeah, this looks terrible. So we cannot really do that. So I think it's better to play like the grandmaster played here. I think this was smarter. F4 first. The computer is crying here about black's position. It doesn't like it at all. But yeah, again, we're not playing against them. So the computer said, talking about our other topic about accept or decline, the computer actually said, decline. No thanks. I don't want that pawn. He said queen f3 instead. Pawn takes, queen g8. We are about to fulfill our plan with queen h7, but then they go knight e3 and the pawn is hanging. So something like that would have been white's best choice. But okay, I think not so simple to see this at the board. And you have to take your chances, right? In some positions. So no, he did not win. Eric did not win this game, unfortunately. We can have a quick look at what happened in the game. Bishop takes and queen g8. That's what Connor told us. Bring the queen to h7. And after bishop d2, they could have played like that. But now he started putting some pressure here. Black, Escalante played g5. As you can see, if pawn takes, suddenly this French opening is waking up, right? Black is getting all the play now in this position. So white did not do that. They played knight f3 and black played f5. So we're a pawn down, but you can almost not feel it. Like black has a lot of initiative and so on. We have a nice blocking bishop and so on. Rook f8, f6 and so on. In the game they took on f6, bishop takes, knight e3, queen f7. Now black is better than ever. Now knight h2, rook f8, knight here and bishop. Yeah, we don't have to see the whole game, but just let me say that white still have problems to solve, right? About the king, for instance. If I castle short, maybe the pawn is hanging. There are some ideas like taking on d4 in the center. Wasn't f6 better than f5? Yeah, I was thinking about that also. Why didn't he play f6? I think it's probably better, yeah, because white will have to take anyway. Good point. But from Titan Chess. So I think so. I think you're right. You're right in that. Okay. One last thing I wanted to tell you also. Knight h4. Those of you who said this, you would get half a point. If you play queen g8 now, it's not really making sense because I can put my bishop here perhaps. So I have a question for all of you. The computer wanted to play queen f8. Question, why? Why did the computer put the queen on f8? Aha, Kind King Sam, you're right. No, we're not doing Seed of Gulko. No, we just had it as a reference. Exactly. So when you see those computer moves, try to understand them. Why did he say that or this move? Not just copy the moves, but try to really find out what's behind those moves, the idea. So they want to play g5. And okay, last question here. What do you think the computer proposed for white here? Aha, Sosin Queen says Queen C1. So you can, of course, choose not to use the computer, but sometimes it can be interesting also to hear its opinion, right? It can certainly enrich our play. So it's good to see this now. This looks like some kind of Karpov or Petrosyan game. We are just limiting our opponent, but it's actually Stockfish which is saying this. So if you play like that, they can't play g5 anymore because they are dropping the pawn on h6. So black would have to do something else, but it looks a little gloomy for black at this point. So I will think that in this position after knight h4, our best choice here is simply to play like they did in the game. Play f4, try to bring your queen to h7, push d5, and so on. So, all right, fine. About giving up a pawn, you can see it's a similar situation. Now f4, trying to liberate the bishop. Basically, you could say it's the same thing as what Vidit did, but in a much more favorable situation, of course. He played c5 to help his bishop to reach this square. So it's basically the same kind of idea, but just in a very different setting. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, my next position, I thought I should show you just for a change, a game that I played myself. Exactly. Do not just copy move. Understand them. Exactly. It makes no sense to just copy and paste the computer moves. You will never get to the same position again, right? So that's what I wanted to say. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, let's see here. You get only 45 seconds for this. Okay. A game that I played a long time ago with against another Swedish grandmaster, Stellan Brunel. Funnily enough, we're in some kind of French structure, which which is his favorite opening. Aha, we have 3 winners here, Brian, Hollow Blade, and Tactical Magician. And those of you who put the bishop on g4 instead, yeah, you're excused. That's also possible. Aha, if you put the bishop on g4. But I think it has a better destination, right? The bishop. King a8. Wow, very how do you say, prophylactic thinking by Xalicia and Pika. I see. Chess Crusher, yeah, you're definitely on the right track. I think that works also, yeah. I don't remember all the details from this game. This was like, yeah, 25 years ago or something. So, touch grass, you also found it. Please go ahead, Brian, you were fastest here. Tell us, how should black continue here? Aha, f4. This time it's in a much better setting than in the previous game. Now it's automatic now. So I always had this tendency to give up my pawns like nothing, and maybe I went too far on some occasion, but on this occasion it was okay. Yeah, we can see the idea, right? Bishop is coming to e4, white has light square weaknesses. Please notice what we talked about at the beginning. Now queens are on. This means that any attacking scenario is very favorable for black, who has the much safer king. Yeah, Stellan played e6, and we just move away the king. Aha, after pawn takes. We had 2 different angles for the bishop, but I quickly figured out that it's probably better to go to the, to which side? Exactly, to that side. The thing is simply that if we want to attack the pinned piece, we need some help from somebody, right? So, yeah, I feel a bit unsafe today for the small price. So here it was a bigger price, maybe 2 pawns, but I think that it was definitely worth it now. Anyone, what is black's next move here? Just to check if we're on the same page. Exactly, kind king. Aha, we have g5, g4 coming in. Yeah, we don't have to look at this game into big detail. Now I wanted to show you some other stuff. I just want to say that it's a typical feature in some French structures. He played rook e5, I played g5, yeah, the game went like this, and black was better. Yeah, that was a quite strong queen move and so on. So white was in big trouble here. So yeah, white went on to win. Anyway, that's what I wanted to tell you, that it doesn't indeed happen in some structures here. You play like that. Back to reality here, or I mean back to the year 2024. We will look at something completely different, but still connected to our topic. So we had one big upset in the Tata Steel B group. Like I told you, the games from the B group are extremely interesting. This was a big upset. Spanish Grandmaster Santos Latasa lost this game to Divya from India. And let's see what happened here. You can see that Divya has played the Nimso with e3. You can see that, some of you, I think. There was a bishop trade on c3 and so on. At this point, white is thinking about how to build up their initiative. They have the bishop pair, but one of the bishop is sleeping right now. It's a tricky position because there is always tension on the center, but a variety of pawn structures can appear here. Very often, white is happy to trade off those pawns so that the bishop wakes up. But on d4, they don't want to trade off on e5 or c5. That would help black, right? They would get a better structure then. So it's a tricky structure, a lot of tension, pawn tension. Anyway, let's get going. Knight h5 was played by Divya, trading off the knight. After knight takes, queen takes, we have the threat of mate, so black does not have time to take the pawn. g6 would probably be a bit weakening. I guess white could put the queen here, and they would be very happy if black took, because it would allow their pieces to develop, right? So, okay, what happened in the game? They played h6. I just wanted you to get some kind of intro here. Rook b1, a useful move by Divya. She's waiting to see if black will take on d4, open up the game for her pieces. But Santos said no. He played b6. He wants to keep the tension, and he's now preparing to bring out the bishop, I think. Maybe on this side or maybe on the other side. So, all right, enough talking from me. It's your turn here. I would like to see how you make this position improve with the white pieces. Okay, you get 1 minute. Let's see if you can figure this out. Where is the action here? What about that small price that we're talking about so much today? Aha, many people want, oh, I see, we have 2 winners. Wow, you're so fast, Sonsin and Resur. I think you were checking this game, right? You were probably following this game online, or you're just extremely fast thinkers. Okay, a lot of people want to sacrifice another pawn. Yeah, I would not sacrifice that pawn. I'm sorry, Chess Art and Gordon and Small Goldfish and everyone else. I know the topic is a small price, but try to find the best way of sacking your pawns, yeah? Just not like that, okay? We will look at that. Yeah, random moves. Aha. Bishop e4. Yeah, bishop e4 or KDK. I think I would go bishop e6 there. Fight for the light squares or something. Yeah, tricky. But I like the spirit of your move, Kind King Sam, but I think it's not fully working. No, we will talk about that in any case. Okay, we have 3 winners here: Sozin, Queen, Razor, and Pika. Aha. All right, Sozin, tell us, how does this work out with white? Oh, I wasn't following this game. I played in Sweden my whole life. Sounds great. You should probably continue playing it then. F4, that's what Divya played also. So in the game, he took on F4, which means that white opens up the F file. It's nice for white not to get more of an attack. But what I would like to focus on, of course, is what happens if they take the pawn. Because I think most people here would see the move F4, but they would shy away from F4 because they would say, but hey, I can't do that. I'm losing a pawn for nothing, right? How can that work? Now I'm down a pawn. I hate being down a pawn. Look what Sozin Queen played now. Beautiful. Look what happened. We're a pawn down, but suddenly all the pieces are in the right places. These are like the best buddies now, these 2 pawns. They will advance together. They are controlling a lot of squares. I think you have seen that in other openings also, right? Like in the King's Indian, sometimes you get these 2 pawns on E5 and F5. E takes F5, D takes F5. These pawns are working together, or hanging pawns in some other openings also. So this is very difficult for black, and I perfectly understand that Santos did not like to enter this. I looked a little at this, Sozin. I looked a little at this, but it was hard for me to find even a move with black here. The pawn is just in the way, right? It's stopping all black's counterplay. All right, I'll play something, Sozin, just for everybody to understand this. I'll try to find some useful move. All right, Sozin, it's your move. How will you continue here? I'm trying to make useful moves. Rook e8, I don't know what else to do with that rook. Rook f3, what an annoying move, you see? I was hoping that Sozin would play something like f5 or e5. If f5, of course, I'll put the knight on e5 and hope that's giving counterplay. And if e5, I was hoping I would have some kind of blockade here. But okay, I actually don't see how my blockade would work. I was hoping to go like that, but then I guess, yeah, I think that's with my points, right? 97, and if f5, I could take the pawn. But that's a much stronger move that Sozin played here, rook f3, because he keeps me guessing about what will happen next here. So I think I ran out of moves here. Maintain the pawns on e4 and f4, lift the rook and play bishop d2. It's terrible for black. That's what Sozin says. Yeah, I agree. I don't know what to play here. My pieces, they lack scope whatsoever. I'm happy to look further into this if anyone likes, but to me it's clear that I'm being busted here because they keep me guessing forever. Okay, I'll play something just for fun. Yeah, I'll play another move just to finish off this variation. All right, Sozin, all the pressure is on you now. But you have a very nice position. Yeah, rook g3, now he wants to play queen takes. All right, can I do some cheap tactic like queen? I think so, right? I have a cheap tactic there. Yeah, I'll go for that. Hopefully it pays off. But I don't have a good feeling about this. I think I'm just bluffing here, right? Sozin will just play a simple move here. I think I know what you will play, Sozin, right? Exactly, bishop d2. Everybody understands? Queen takes h6, that's like a self-goal. Black had this cheap tactic coming up. Don't forget, no matter how brilliant your positional ideas, you have to keep an eye on the tactics also. So, of course, bishop b2 instead. And now you're even bringing the bishop to the battle. Yeah, it's probably like resignable here already. I don't know. I don't have any expectations here. Yeah, you can take on d4 and it's getting even worse. So, yeah, I agree. Looks terrible. And for that reason, in the game, they said, no, I don't want to play like that. He said, Santos, and he took on f4 instead. Okay, very quickly, your other moves here. Bishop e4, some people are saying, I will play bishop e6. I think this is a clever move by black. Please notice, I'm not scared at all that you will take my pawn. I'm happy to give you that pawn if I can keep some light square control here. Yeah, I don't know exactly what would I play here, though. I wanted to put the bishop here, maybe, and put the rook there or something. Okay, honestly, not completely clear. Maybe black does not have enough compensation, but at least we keep the white bishop at bay. So, rook d5 is also coming. Yeah, maybe we can play on the king side. Famous game, Karpov, Bent Larsen in the Petrov. You can see this kind of scenario. But okay, Karpov was castled long on that occasion. d5 was proposed, but I think the price is too big this time if you play, or too high this time if you play d5. I wouldn't give away that pawn. I don't see the merit of it, honestly. The only merit would be to clear the light squares, but I think that's just temporary. No, you play bishop. I don't know what you wanted to play next, like bishop c4. I think I go back and I can play a few solid moves, like maybe queen e7 and bishop e6. Honestly, I don't believe in that. Bishop e4 and c4. Oh, I see. Bishop e4, I move the rook and you play c4. Yeah, I understand the point. Sorry, you're bringing the bishop to b2. Okay, like it's some Botvinnik game, right? Put the bishop on d5. I think I'll play bishop e6 though. And maybe, yeah, bishop e2, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a very good feeling about this for white, but maybe. Possibly f4. Yeah, at least we have something that the plan is easy. Yeah, you could say the plan is not difficult for us. So, okay, interesting. I'm not sure what I would play with black here. Bishop takes e4, rook d1, and f4 is strong, says Tactical Magician. Yeah, many pawns are falling off though. The price is getting higher and higher. But yeah, I think what I would do here, we talked about this also. Maybe it's time for black to trade off a few pieces here. Can I play something like rook d8 maybe? If you take, I take back with a knight. And yeah, you get back a pawn in the middle, but I also have an extra pawn, right? So I don't know. How bad can this be for black? Not that bad, right? White is probably missing the rooks by now. So sack. Where are you going to sack? Yeah, I don't follow. So I think this is not convincing. No, not convincing for white. So better bishop pair, but no real compensation. Something like that. I think the rooks coming off, it doesn't help white's attacking play. So I think in conclusion, what Divya played in the game, it was definitely the best choice here. So black had every reason not to take. We saw this nice idea already with e4, beautiful idea with these 2 pawns, bring up the rook, as Saucing Queen said. Terrible. In the game, they took on f4, white took back, and now there was no price, right? No price anymore. We were equal in material. She just continued developing her pieces, and she got a very nice attack in this game. Yeah, black was slightly out of plans here. Bishop f5, bishop e6. She took and she brought in the other rook, I think, also. And white had a nice attack. Yeah, she later on managed to push these pawns and she went on to win. But okay, that's a different part of the story. My main story here was that we should not be afraid of giving up a pawn in the center with f4. Okay, the small price. Yeah, it's just a pawn. That was the point here. Okay, let's pick one of the strongest players in the world. Current number 2, I think. Who is number 2 in the world? Number 2? Exactly, Fabiano. I think me, says Kind King Sam. Well, unless it's Caruana behind that handle, I think you're wrong. This is a game played last year, Tata Steel, Max Sodlo with the white pieces and playing black. Is Caruana. Interesting battle. It takes an 8. Yeah, now it's up. Okay. It took a long time to bring up this game. Maybe it's because it's complex. Please, no spamming in the chat, all right? At this point, Max Sodlo played Queen c3. It makes perfect sense, this move, Queen c3. Bringing the queen a little closer, and also, I mean, apart from hitting the pawn, what Max Sodlo has noticed here is that the knight is not in a very good place. So if we play Queen c3, we can later on bring the knight to b2. And maybe once that is done, we can look at different options, right? One idea would be to push this pawn, perhaps b5. If they take, maybe we can push the d pawn and so on. Caruana played here the move rook a8, very clever move. We cannot really take on c6, I think. I think black wins material, right? Or no? Rook c7, is that anyone with a sharp tactical eye? Did black just win this knight? I think so, right? Queen b5 and bishop d7. So yeah, not fully working for white. So Max Sodlo played in the game knight b2. All right, guys, we will flip the board, and I would like to know what you think Caruana played at this point, which would be the most promising continuation for black here. Let's see if we can get this right. I will ask you for only, let's see if you can find the third move. I think the third move is difficult. Yeah, okay. You get 1 minute. Razor, how can you find that in just 2 seconds, Razor? 3 options. You're Caruana, you're using an engine, or you saw this game very recently. I can't see any other way you can find the move so quickly, honestly. But okay, never mind. We're all here to learn. I can see there were some other tries here. Interesting. you're all giving up pawns now. Yeah, you don't have to give up a pawn every time we are talking about this topic now, but never mind. Okay. Yeah, we have only Razor as a winner here. And nobody else is even close. Wow. So maybe it was difficult. Aha. You have to think a little about White's plans here, right? White would like to push b5. We talked about that, to liberate the d pawn so that they can push the d pawn. Okay. Happy pawn and chess art. You're certainly close. Yeah, I can give you half a point for that solution for sure. If you play like that, I think there is no big difference, right? It's probably just a move order thing. Tactical magician, you're extremely close. Aha. But they didn't get the last move. Aha. So, okay, Razor is too good. So go for it, Razor. You can find this in only 3 seconds, even faster than Fabiano Caruana. I saw it before. Yeah, okay, no problem. Now you have seen it again. So b5, why on earth did Caruana play like that? Well, as I'm saying, we have to understand the opponent's plans. Probably what Black would like to do here is play b5. If the pawn is taking, suddenly there are plans with d5, or even like strategically. If we just play a move here, let's say we play, yeah, what would we play with Black? I'm trying to think here. Queen c7 maybe, something like that, yeah. White could play something like b5. It would be like a nice strategical change for them. Pawn takes, I guess we would trade off. I don't know if we would run with this pawn, so maybe first we can just take the pawn. And yeah, now we're getting closer to pushing this pawn a little further, right? Something like that is, I think, it's what Max Söderl has planned here. But if we give up a pawn with b5, it costs a pawn, right? Because now they can safely take the pawn. But this also means that we keep the knight limited on b2. It cannot go to c4 anymore, which would be another move. Like maybe if Caruana had played, oh, sorry, let's go back a little. If Caruana had played something like rook c8 instead, for instance, if you play rook c8, I think maybe White could play something like knight c4 here, try to bring the knight a little closer to the battle. And maybe we can reroute it, we can move the knight to e3, and yeah, who knows what can happen here in the future. We're waiting for information from Black also, right? So yeah, that's what happened in the game. He hurried to play here the move b5. White took on c6. Go for it, Razor Bill. Rook takes d4. If you played by chance rook c8, like I think Happy Pawn and Chess Art played, I think it's basically the same thing, right? Queen takes and rook takes d4. But beware, yeah, there is always a difference. No? So I can't really tell you what would be the difference here. But in any case, he took like that, rook takes d4. And what happened here after that? Well, White, I think they should not take on d4 because then the knight is hanging, so they played queen takes b5. But you can see also as an effect of this little investment, he played rook c8. Caruana wants to bring the rook to c2, I think. That's the point here, right? But as a result of this little investment, now also White has like a weak pawn, and we have a fantastic square for the knight on e5. So already here, they are in some trouble. There is one other line I wanted to show you. If White takes on a8, maybe that was Caruana's hidden point. He wanted to see if Max Söderl would fall for this, because it's material-wise about equal. But yeah, we can play queen a7, and I will have to play something like rook d1. You're not winning anything here, Razor. No, you're not winning material. But strategically, your position is very nice here. Yeah, you can guess the next move here. Exactly, Razor, knight e5. So that's unpleasant for White, not to say the least. That knight is like it's a game changer. No, it's a very powerful piece. We can use it in different ways, maybe to attack the queen side, or it can be used on the king side and so on. Queen a2 maybe is coming. Black is having the initiative here for sure in this, I think, in this position. So Max Söderl did not do that. He played queen takes b5 instead. Rook c8, trying to bring the rook to c2. Queen a5, yeah, timely trade of queens, because probably White's king was a little more exposed here. They traded off rook takes, queen f6, knight d3. And yeah, what do you think, Razor? What was the next move? Yeah, don't argue too much. I can see what you're talking about in the chat. Yeah, he found it because he had seen the game. So what? No problem. If anyone by chance would use an engine while attending these lessons, it's insane. You would not learn anything. It's better to get the quiz wrong, but to learn something than to do copy and paste for the quiz. The only thing you would improve would be your copy and paste abilities, right? So rook c2 was played in the game, exactly. Caruana had initiative, but Maxodo defended very well, and he made a draw in the end. But in any case, what I wanted to make you understand here was that it was actually worth it. It was worth it to invest his pawn. It was a good business for black to play b5. They went on to lose a pawn, but somehow the position changed. Of course, you could also say that, why did Maxodo take the pawn on c6? But I guess if he doesn't take the pawn, maybe then black can bring the rook to a2 anyway. And it's hard to see. Actually, if you ask me, it's hard to see a good move for white here, apart from queen takes c6. So, okay, I think we will continue, yeah? We will continue. So b5, very stunning. Should I request this? Yeah, maybe we should request this just for fun, so that everybody can follow in the footsteps of Fabiano Caruana. You can play like him here. If you play rook c2 on the second move, no hard feelings. It's perfectly fine. Okay, but you get only 30 seconds this time, okay? So the next game I think you have not seen. Well, I'm hoping so. We will see. Okay, Brian, Razor, Happy Pawn, Yugoslavia, and Connor, Mr. Chicky. Oh, you played rook b8. Interesting. But if Caruana... No, you're blundering. No, blunder check here, Mr. Chicky and RKDK. I can go rook takes... Oh, no. You're right. I'm wrong. Why didn't he play that? Queen c5 maybe. Queen c5. Yeah, players of this level, they always have a very concrete reasons for their moves, right? So b5, queen takes c6, rook takes d4, queen takes b5. If Caruana did not play rook b8, yeah, for a moment I thought you had blundered, but that's not so, of course. I think he didn't like this move. It's my personal belief that maybe he didn't like that. Queen c5. Aha. Which also explains why he didn't play. Maybe some of you were thinking, why didn't he play rook a2? But I think it's the same explanation, right? Queen c5 maybe. If the queen can settle on this diagonal, I think white is happy now that there are no attacking chances really for black anymore. So I think that's the reason why he played this move rook c8. Yeah, very clever, no? Okay, kind king that blunders queen takes b4. Kind king that blunders queen takes b4. Who is blundering what? I don't follow. Feel free to invite me to this discussion also. Why didn't white play queen take? We just talked about that, Santos. I don't know. Am I talking to the wall here or what? We talked about this already. Queen takes, rook d8. I think Racer was saying this. Queen a7 and put the knight on e5. And despite material balance, or even like white is up a point, the nature of this position greatly favors black. I hope, Santos, you're convinced. I'm happy to look into this if I don't follow. Wow, it's a little chaotic today, the chat. I don't know. Are you following now, Chesart? Or? Wow. Tricky chat. So I hope we can agree that black is not doing badly here, no? The queen is powerful. It can work in different directions. Multiple things that we can do here. Maybe the knight can go over there or here and so on. Yes, that position is better for black. Yeah, thanks, Happy Pawn. Yeah, you have to follow. I think sometimes people are lost in the chat and talking about irrelevant things and so on. The point was that we will look at these examples and learn something more. All right, time to turn the page. Let's bring up, I think, our last example for today. Yeah, this is the last example for today. Let's pick up something from the Rai Lopez. So, trivia question here to everybody in this game between Hovhannisyan and Abbasov. Which opening do you think? Which line in the Rai Lopez leads to this one? It's not the Scots, I think. It's the Rai Lopez, if I'm not mistaken. You can see it from the pawn. Not the Marshall. If it was the Marshall, that would be a pawn on c3, right? Bishop c5, Rai Lopez, exactly. So in some kind of Arkhangelsk variation. Okay, I won't give you much time because I know that you're very skilled in this area. So you will try to follow in the footsteps of the Armenian Grandmaster. Let's see if we can do this together. Okay, this time you get 1 minute 30 so that you can really think about this and try to find all the moves. So, very dynamic position. You can see white has the bishop pair, but black has a lot of activity on the queen side. One plan for black here, of course, c5, c4. That's what black might be planning here. But white has a way to fight back here that the Grandmaster found in the game. Okay? Yugoslavian, you are on the right track. If you play like that, yeah, Pikachu and Titan chess, you're like very, very close. I can see a small difference there, though. I will probably take Pikachu and Titan, and I will play c5 maybe. I'll give back that pawn. Okay, we will come to that. We will come to that. No problem. Jong and Adi, I'll check you on c5, and yeah, we will see. Think about the queen trade. Is it favorable or not favorable for white? That's the question you should make to yourself here. Brian, you got it right. Yeah, congratulations, Brian. Feel yourself as a winner. Nobody got as close as Brian on this occasion. Aha. Tactical Magician also extremely close. Yeah. One thing that everybody should ask yourself, who is favored by the trade of queens? And what does that, how can we make that choice? Or what does that have to do with trade of queens? Yeah, usually we say the trade of queens, it's connected to king safety. But you can also say that white has the bishop pair. So if I'm allowed to write something in the chat, bishop pair, great asset in the endgame, okay? Usually when you get to the endgame, the bishop pair gets even stronger. So bishop g5 gets a free pawn. What's the second move? I was right. Okay, a lot of comments in the chat. We will give the word to Brian, I think, because nobody else got that close. You basically got it right, Brian. Tactical Magician, I think, second place. Forgive me if I missed some name here. So please go ahead, Brian. Tell us what to do here. Okay, we will come to that, Hollow Blade. No hard feelings. e5. It's time to break up the position. In a previous game, I think it was Petr Svidler actually who played rook e1, and black could play c5. No, it was probably not. Was it Svidler? I'm just curious who had played this, because it did happen in the past. Let me see. Strong players. Yeah, Svidler versus Kasimdzhanov some years ago. That's what they played. c5 and black got counterplay. So later, I think it was discovered that the strongest move is the one that Brian was saying. Exactly, e5. All right, Brian, it's all yours. Please continue. If it's endgame, then bishop is a very good piece. Exactly, Young. Pawn takes, black cannot really, there is no way to decline the sacrifice, right? No really. I mean, knight e4, would that be a choice for black? I'm just wondering. Now this knight is a little shaky over there. Anyone, what do you think? Can you see something smart for white here? There must be a reason. No, I didn't play that. Queen g5 maybe. Queen takes, bishop takes, and yeah, something like that, right? I will just toss a coin and say that this might be the reason, so that you can play bishop e7 later. Or is there some smarter explanation? Feel free to tell us. Queen d4, says RTK. Yeah, you're probably right then. I thought I could get away with this, but probably I can't. Bishop f4 is maybe killing here also. Yeah, I don't know. Rook e1 says tactical. That looks like a blunder tactical. The magic is mine this time, I think. So yeah, don't do that, please. Good reason to develop the bishop first, right? So anyway, interesting position. I feel like black is on the edge here. No, they are close to losing at this point. White is extremely active, but we can look at the game instead, okay? They played queen takes e5, very logical. Queen f4, what a beautiful move. How many times do you see somebody sack a pawn followed by the trade of queens without any like evident continuation? But that's exactly how he played, Hovhannisyan. You could have played, of course, queen d5 also. I guess in that case, I would just, from what I understand here, I would just continue with this plan of c5 and try to play c4. I don't care about the weakening of my king side. Queens are gone and so on. Why not queen e3, says Hollow Blade. All right, Hollow, we will come to that. Queen e3. Let's do some comparative analysis, Hollow. If you trade the queens on f4, this means that you can take with the bishop and you're attacking the pawn on c7. If you trade the queens on e3, I don't see a similar benefit. If you play queen e3 here, I would take. Now I should be a little careful about this move, which probably means that I should move the rook. I'll play rook e8 maybe. And you'll have to convince me about this. Bishop c5 perhaps. Yeah, Eraser says bishop c5 and I will play knight c6. Not my favorite kind of game. Don't get me wrong, but I'm trying to do my best here. If I can get bishop e6 in, I think I'm on the safer side. So, yeah, I think black is okay here. But I might be wrong. Black should have played knight a6. All right, knight a6. Sorry about that, Racer. I didn't even see that move. You're right, probably, to put the knight there instead. Aha. Although it's not a good place for the knight. That's what happened in the game, by the way. That's where it ended up in the game. Now you can't play bishop e6 anymore because the knight is hanging, right? But okay, small details. I would stick to bishop c6, bringing knight a little closer to the center. But yeah, who knows? Interesting situation. But I think we can agree that if we're going to trade the queens, and we can do it on these different squares, the most beneficial one seems to be f4, right? Because when black trades, later it was discovered that black should actually decline the trade. This was discovered in some later game. Queen h4, and white still has a nice initiative, no? Sorry. But in the game, they took on f4, and it's interesting to notice that not only are you attacking the pawn, you're also getting ready to bring the bishop to d6 after that. Okay, nice to see you, Greg. You arrived just on time. We're about to finish here. Aha, white got some initiative. Black played here knight a6. That was not a nice move to play. Please go ahead, Brian. Yeah, exactly, rook a5. Very pretty move. We're starting to work on black's weaknesses. b5 can sometimes be a liability in the Ruy Lopez. You have to protect that pawn somehow. We cannot do this due to the rook. We cannot do that due to the knight. We have to push that pawn. So I have a question here in this position. When your opponent, let me write something in the chat. When our opponent has a badly placed piece, what might be a good general strategy? Let's see if somebody understands what I'm trying to say here. Yeah. Rid of all other pieces. Is that good English, 206? Aha, heuristic. That's good English. Trade off everything except that piece. Exactly. Bravo. Very good explanation. Aha. Yeah, don't let it become good. Of course, King Sam. But I was after what heuristic said here. Aha. Trade all the other pieces. Exactly. I have this, by the way, in the Mastering Endgame Strategy, and I think other authors have also covered this. So that explains Hovhannisyan's next move here. Like knight versus bishop in the French, says heuristic mind. Exactly, knight e5. That's what he played, because he knows that this knight is like the problem child in black's camp, right? Knight takes, bishop takes. He later on brought the rook to a1. So he was actually attacking that knight. So maybe I was not completely relating to that situation. But still, it's about that, right? The knight on f6 was a perfectly healthy piece, and we're happy to get it off the board. So they remain with this difficulty with the knight that's not well placed anymore. So yeah, I like this example. I don't have more moves here, but yeah, he was playing rook e1, and I think later on they actually ended up in some kind of endgame with two bishops versus rook, and white was better there. So basically what we have seen here, if we do the quiz very quickly again, just like a last reminder about our topic, we only gave away one pawn, but we got a very nice initiative in the endgame. If we do this again very quickly, you get this time only 30 seconds. Okay. So I think it was worth the price, right? It was worth the price. If you try to prepare this with rook e1, like in the Svidler-Kasimzhanov game, black would have c5 with counterplay. But if you speed up this a little, you get into a different situation here. Okay, everybody got it right. 206, RKDK, John Sam, Fianchetto, and Pika, and so on. Aha. And Chess Crusher and Connor and Chess Art wanted to play knight b5 instead. All right, no hard feelings. I think you can play like that also. Both choices are perfectly fine. So, yeah, please go ahead. 206, tell us how should white continue here. This will be the last thing that we look at today. We did not prepare e5. Exactly. Thanks. Great move, 206. We don't prepare it because it costs a tempo and black gets counterplay and so on. Also, when you play rook e1 and later on you play e5, maybe it's a little chilly for the king, right? It would have been much better if we had the other rook to play e5 in our dreams, but that's not possible here. So e5, exactly. Please go ahead, 206. We continue to open up the game. And now a very surprising move, but the grandmaster understands that the bishop pair feels very much at home in the endgame, so he played here queen f4. Queen e7 was black's best choice, but it takes brave player to play that, because you would then have to live with the with the white attack, right? The white onslaught, you would say. You have also the F file open, but that's what the computer, I think, discovered later in the game. Abasov played the more natural queen trade. Now a pawn up, he might be thinking that, okay, if in the very worst case, I will just give back the pawn and I will simplify to an equal endgame. But that did never happen, because the bishop pair was so strong here. The pawn is hanging, and not only that, we had the bishop d6 idea. And after knight a6, we continue to put more pressure here, activate our pieces. Beautifully how white has managed to activate basically all their pieces, b4. And some of you wanted to play knight b5, that's okay also. But else, you could play the move we talked about here, knight e5, which helps getting rid of this knight and also improving a little, our other pieces and so on. So, all right. Thanks, guys. This was the first installment about the small price. You can see white's a pawn down here, but they still have very nice position. So we will continue with this next week. So thanks to USCS, to Greg Shahadi, to everybody who attended today. Thanks to Chess Dojo, to Chessable, and so on. Thanks, everyone. See you next week. Bye-bye.